Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today we've got an update here on the foreign interference. Elizabeth May, who has security clearance, was able to get the documents. She's read the entire thing. She had a few choice words to say about it. We'll go through a handful of her comments. The video is very long, like over an hour, but just to cut out a few clips here, and then we'll talk about it. There's something to note about Elizabeth as well we need to consider regarding her comments. So first off here, so she got security clearance. She read through the documents. This is what she had to say.
I have been asked many times in slightly different ways how it feels to sit in a parliament knowing that there are potential traitors among us. Shouldn't the public have a right to know which MPs have sold out their country for benefit or favor from a foreign government? Having read the full unredacted National Security Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians report, for myself, I can say, I have no worries about anyone in the House of Commons.
Now, there's a few things to note about what she just said. We're just going to look at a few clips more, and then I'll show you why we need to carefully consider Elizabeth May's words.
Accusations that I found shocking. I found myself looking around at colleagues, wondering who could it be? Who would sell out this country? Right? It's disquieting. It was a relief to see in the report that this specific narrow category, and I want to be very specific about it, are there currently MPs sitting with us in the chamber who would set out knowingly to sell out Canada for personal benefit? If there are, there's no evidence of that in the full report.
What about the Senate?
The Senate is there were no references specifically to the Senate in the report that I read in terms of, no. I'm speaking specifically to the House of Commons and elected people.
So other than that person on page 26, do you know the names of the other parliamentarians flagged in the report?
There are not many names in the report, to be very clear. I've been cautioned every word I reviewed with you just now. I carefully vetted with security experts and got advice from the Privy Council office. One of the areas in which they have warned me I could betray some degree of confidentiality and even potentially expose current intelligence assets of the Government of Canada and even risk the personal safety and physical security of such assets would be by using specific numbers. But I feel comfortable telling you that of other names of people, MPs, be very careful and say members of Parliament, as there are other names in the report of different categories of personages, but of members of Parliament named in the full unredacted report, and I will not give a specific number, but I think I'm safe to say very low number, fewer than a handful, and no one in that fewer than a handful could be described as setting out to knowingly betray Canada in favor of a foreign government.
We've already had Trudeau do exactly this. Like, he's already working as hard as possible to destroy this country with his immigration. Sean Fraser, Mark Miller, I mean, sure, those guys' names aren't in the report. It's out in the open. But anyways, if you watch this entire thing, she basically hints at that there's provincial is where the words kind of, you read their body language a little bit. It seems there's some provincial people on that list. She also, I think, says in the public report, names Min Doan.
But when I had previously said to media, if someone has sold out our country for money or for benefit, they're traitors. Participants in efforts of foreign states to interfere is far short of a prosecuting offense of traitors, of treachery, or performing acts that could be considered traitorous, disloyal, witting, semi-witting, participants in efforts of foreign states to interfere in our politics. And then again, communicating frequently with foreign missions or during a political campaign to obtain support from community groups or businesses. Now, there are a lot of different actors, and this is another thing that comes up when we read the whole report, for those who would get a chance to do so. Foreign governments are targeting not only elected members of parliament, but people seeking election at many different levels of government. The whole report can't be released, but if the whole report were released, it would not reveal a list of names of currently sitting MPs.
Back to page 26, though. On page 26, did you see which country this person was helping, and can you say?
I did see, and I can't say.
It's good.
It's China and India. There, that's the answer.
As all parties, so we can take that. To your first question, when I said not just members of parliament, elected people at different levels and orders of government. So we shouldn't take our eye off the ball there. I think there is much more work that needs to be done in looking at this report. There are other examples of people currently in elected positions in Canada who are not members of parliament.
There you have it. And she also mentions a few times knowingly, but then she emphasizes unknowingly. Trudeau just walks down the street. Oops, I dropped my briefcase with all the secret documents. Oh, hey there, Xi Jinping. Can you pick that up? You can just keep it. It's a gift. Anyways, we'll see what happens with this. But Elizabeth May, you can see here, she is listed here on the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation. Maybe this is a reason why she keeps voting with Trudeau on everything. She can't be trusted. Anyone who's tied to this filthy family cannot be trusted. So that's all I have to say. While she puts on the face as being an honest member of parliament, you're listed right on the devil's website. There you have it. Elizabeth May says there's no problems, but potentially in some other aspects, seems like provincial. Now let's jump into another clip here. We've got Adam Van Koeverden, who has a few words of his own to say on this foreign interference.
Well, they're demonstrating clearly, like time and time again, that they're here to stand up for big oil and gas execs. They're here for grocery execs. They don't actually care about affordability. They don't care about our institutions. They're standing up against our measures for tax fairness. Look, I represent a very young riding as well. A lot of people under 18 in my riding who feel as though wealth inequality has grown in our country, and look, it has. The inclusion rate for capital gains has changed 4, 5, 6 times over the last 40 years, and it's currently the lowest it's ever been. So moving it towards a place where dollars are taxed regardless if they're
Technically, before it went in, it was 0%, so that's not accurate.
They're realized through capital gains benefit or the sale of a secondary residence, which is almost entirely and almost always an investment property.
Except if you inherit it from your parents, and considering that there's a whole bunch of boomers that are getting older and will be passing on those homes, and they know that, but they don't want to say that.
Canada has a very, very low marginal effective tax rate, and what's happened since the capital gains changes were brought down to 50% is that wealth inequality has grown in Canada. So we're addressing that, and I'm proud of the government for doing it. And, sometimes the most popular thing isn't always the right thing to do, and in this,
it's not true. If you look at the unemployment rate, it was really high. And in 1988 and 1992, I believe, is when they increased Brian Mulroney increased the capital gains. It was the Conservatives and it was the Liberals that actually brought it back down to 50%. And what happened? The unemployment rate dropped.
In this case, I feel like this is the right thing to do for Canadians, for future generations, so that we can continue to build the homes and invest in healthcare and do all the things that Canadians expect us to do.
So once again, Adam Van Koeverden just lies all the time, just like Trudeau. He's a well-taught Trudeau minion, but we've got this one here posted by Son of a Bench. He shows Milton here. This is Adam Van Koeverden's riding. He's called Conservatives far-right, T-word, and extreme word for pushing back against the UN. Here's his projected polling numbers. So we look at this. Uh-oh, Adam, looks like you might be out of a job there, buddy. Looks like the people don't like you, sluggard. Well, let me know what you guys think about Elizabeth May's words. It makes no sense for Trudeau to hide this information unless it somehow hurts him, because he knows that not only guaranteed the Conservatives will use it against him, but potentially, like I've heard the Bloc talk about it as well, they're not the only ones. I don't really buy exactly what Elizabeth May is selling, especially since she's listed right on the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation website. Something stinks. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching the end of the video here. This is my second channel. Be sure to subscribe over here. I post extra content. We'll keep fighting for freedom. I'll see you guys in the next one.